It is week 2 of the 2018 IHSA football season, and it's another edition of our HETV Game of the Week. We're coming to you from in the bleachers here tonight at Garber Stadium, the home of the Hoffman Estates Hawks, as they take on a mid-suburban league crossover conference rival in the Prospect Knights. Alongside John Anderson, I'm Ryan Fay with you here on the call tonight. And John, one of the key things looking at these two teams in particular coming into play tonight is, yes, there's roster turnover, but the main story has been the side on the coaching staff.
Yeah, I think both of these teams benefit from having young coaches that have performed extraordinarily well early in their career. Tim Heisey took over Hoffman Estates last year and took them all the way to the semifinals. I was here for their game against De La Salle. That was his first playoff game, and a lot of coaches in their first playoff game have a rough time. Well, they beat De La Salle 34-0. The next week they went up to Lake Forest and they ran away with that one. I think it was 48 to about 20 or so. Then they went out and they played the best team in the Rockford area and they beat them. It was a little closer. Finally, they made it to the semifinals. They ran into that awesome Prairie Ridge team. They couldn't quite run with them, but they still gave them a game for about a half or so. And so all the way to the semifinals for Tim Heisey of Hoffman Estates in year one of his coaching career. Meanwhile, Dan DeBuff, the new head coach at Prospect, he was up at Johnsburg. He took that program from mediocrity up to where the last 3 years he was 31-5. The regular season, the last 2 years, he was unbeaten. I saw him, I was up there for a couple of games. I saw him in 15 beat Genoa handily in the playoffs. And then in 16, I saw him beat Wendell Phillips of Chicago, which is really quite a powerhouse. And they've won a couple state titles and everything. And they were able to beat them 23-20. And the very next season, I saw Phillips in the first game of the season play and lose to Loyola Academy. So, I mean, that's the caliber of opponent that that he had that Johnsburg team playing at. And the hope here at Prospect is that he'll be able to turn it around like that. Prospect had a golden era back in the early O's, 01, 02, and 05. They won state titles. And a lot of the fans there, they haven't had too much to cheer about since those early years in the O's, and perhaps DeBuff can bring that back. And so we've got two coaches that have had unusual success early in their careers, and that's a common denominator here tonight.
Yeah, we talk about the coaching staffs having a little bit of a turnover. Rosters have kind of had the same thing when it comes to the players, but some of the guys that are going to be looking out for tonight, especially out here at Garber Stadium, it's going to be a beautiful night for football, so no excuses in terms of weather like we had last week when we were up in Lake Zurich. We got some key players to look out for. Let's start with the home team that just got introduced a few moments ago, the Hoffman Estates Hawks.
Yeah, Hoffman Estates, they have a transfer by the name of Malik Whitehead. He's a transfer from Bartlett, and he was their leading receiver last week. Tim Heisey is very, very high on him, very highly capable receiver. And so far, at least, Tim Heisey is pretty well satisfied with the way Kyle Rogstad is doing at quarterback. He did a fairly decent job in the first game and showed some potential there. He's got the task of trying to replace Austin Colson, who was quite a quarterback here and really, truly exceptional, but he came in and did a workmanlike job, so that was an upbeat thing for Hoffman.
Yeah, and on the side for Prospect, who should we be looking out for tonight as they also come in with a record of 1-0 coming into week 2?
Well, there's one player that is sort of a domineering figure for them, Michael Sheffis. He's both a running back and a middle linebacker, so he's right in the heart of the play all the time. He's running the football. He ran for 2-3 touchdowns last week. Meanwhile, he played a lot of defense at middle linebacker, leading the linebacking core. The other player, like most teams, the quarterback is a key, and Jimmy Martin is back. He played last year. He's got experience, and he did a pretty decent job for Prospect last week.
And taking a look at how these two teams come into play, I just mentioned a moment ago, they're both unbeaten early on here to start the 2018 campaign respectively. Both are 1-0, and they both had quite the bit of victories, respectively, in Week 1 to start off their seasons. We'll get to the Knights in just a minute, but how about the overtime throw that the Hawks had against Elk Grove?
Well, Hoffman had much more of a struggle with Elk Grove than most people anticipated, and I think it's probably more due to Elk Grove getting better. Hoffman, I suspect, is not quite at the level where they were last year, but Elk Grove had a rough year last year. They were 0-9, and they didn't look like an 0-9 team last week. They rushed for 209 yards against Hoffman, and so anyway, they forced an overtime with Hoffman, and Hoffman was able to win the game 28-21 in overtime. One of the takeaways there, Tim Heisey was very disappointed about the team, even from a first game standpoint. Too many penalties, 172 yards of penalties and 4 turnovers. So the mistakes, turnovers and penalties, that's what Heisey was working on in practice this week. We'll watch for that.
And on the side for the Prospect Knights, they were down through 3 quarters against St. Vida, but they were still able to create some fourth quarter magic for themselves and get a victory.
Yeah, well, I've seen the Johnsburg's teams of Deep Puff, and they tend to run the football a lot. They are in a spread formation, but they pound away, and it's a rapid system that they have. They line up real quick. And that eventually wore St. Viator down. They were down, I believe, going into the fourth quarter, but they wound up winning 28-13. So they just wore them down with that, with hard running right up the middle, basically.
And we're going to be within the bleachers here tonight. Going to be a cool aspect to see the game from. It's an MSL crossover matchup. It's the Knights. It's the Hawks. Kickoff is next on HETV.
Hoffman Estates Hawks. The head coach of the Hoffman Estates Hawks is the Mr. Tim Heisey.
It's almost kickoff time here at Garber Stadium, the home of the Hoffman Estates Hawks. Coming to you from the top of the bleachers tonight, not in the usual press box you may be accustomed to us coming to you from. We're within the crowd tonight, John. And John, it's going to get loud throughout the night tonight.
Yeah, I think so, and we're right in the middle of it, right at the 50-yard line, and it's a warm night with a very high dew point, a little sticky here. We're still in August, which is it's a rare second game of the season that is still in the month of August.
That is indeed. Compared to the weather we had last week for our game when we had Fremd at Lake Zurich, I'll take this weather though. It's not as cold. There's no rain in the forecast. Temperatures are going to be dipping, and the wind is actually coming from the near side of the field to the far side. So a right to left breeze for sometimes when they are out there on the offense for each side respectively. The Hoffman Estates Hawks are in their home orange uniforms with the white trim and white numbers. And the Prospect Knights are in their visiting white uniforms, the blue trim and the blue numbers as we get set for kickoff. Both teams 1-0. It's an MSL crossover conference battle.
It's a crossover between the West and the East. Typically, the East team is much smaller enrollment, but in this case, Hoffman is the smallest school in the West, and their enrollment is very similar to Prospect's. In fact, it may be even slightly lower, which is an aberration from the norm. We get games between the East and the West where you have Barrington at 3,000 and you have Wheeling at, I think, 1,600 or something like that. But here they're pretty balanced enrollment-wise between these two.
Jonah Walton, the sophomore, will kick this one off for Hoffman Estates right to left, while the Prospect Knights back deep for them to receive will be Noah Marks and number 13 in Wesley Newman.
We get to look at this running game that it took a while for it to get going last week, but they poured it on in the fourth quarter against St. Viator and won that game going away.
Off we go. Luke Zardin will get the carry from about his own 10, gets to a couple of tackles, stays on his feet for an extra moment, just over the 25-yard line, and that is where the Prospect Knights take over, and their dual threat quarterback in James Martin. 94 yards through the air last week, 79 yards rushing. So this Hoffman Estates defense needs to prepare for everything from this Knights offense.
And last week they had Hoffman had a little trouble with the Elk Grove running game, and here they pose a team that Coach DeBuff has tutored in the running game, and they had 217 yards rushing last week, and so they're certainly going to try to establish the run here early.
And the handoff goes to Zardin, who just returned the opening kickoff, and he is met immediately by the Hawks D-line for a loss of a couple. He's second and long for Prospect. On the rush there, leading the way there was the senior defensive end, number 22 in Ramon Rodriguez. Second and 12 with the ball on the 24. And the handoff will go to Zardin once again. And the Hawks D-line says, no, sir, third down Knights.
Closed very fast on him. This Hoffman defensive line really showing some quickness.
And Coach Dan DeBuff has always talked about tempo from the preseason onward. No huddle for the third straight play. 3rd and 11 on the 25. And the pressure came. Ball's in the air. And it's an interception for Hoffman Estates. Ball comes out.
The ball comes out.
Brian Smith with the INT.
Wow.
And the Hoffman Estates Hawks with a perfect start to this one defensively.
Hoffman gets the turnover. Last week they had a rough go. They had 4 turnovers of their own, but here they start off with a big turnover in the early going. We're only about a minute into the game.
So now the Hawks offense comes out, led by Kyle Krogstad, the 6-foot senior quarterback. And he started some excellent field position at the Prospect 36. 11:01 here to go in the first quarter. Not the ideal start for Prospect after the INT by Brian Smith, the sophomore. One man in motion from the far side as the throw will go to the near side for Malik Whitehead. And Whitehead will get past the 30, stays on his feet, gets to the second level, tries to spin around another defender. Ball comes out, but it is out of bounds. First down Hoffman Estates, and it's Malik Whitehead again, who had 7 catches for 77 yards last week in the overtime victory.
Yeah, he's really the go-to receiver for Hoffman.
Here comes quick tempo offense here from the Hawks as the chains get set. Clock will continue to roll. Coach that will look back to the sidelines for the play to be called from head coach and Tim Heisey. Young coaching staffs on both sides as he will throw to Whitehead once again to the left side. Gets a couple blocks in front of him. Spins his way towards the 10 and out of bounds.
Threw it over there to the left. They had 3 receivers to the left, and Whitehead was a little bit behind the other 2. They threw it to him, got some blocks out of the leading receivers, and made a nice gain on that one.
They gave him a first down. First and goal at the Knights 9. 10:28 on the clock.
Hoffman looking sharp on offense and defense here in the very early going.
They've got 3 to the near left, 1 out to the far right. Keep an eye on number 20 in orange, because that seems to be the go-to option as the handoff instead goes up the middle, and trying to barrel his way over was Isaiah Cooper, the senior running back, and I believe the ball actually came out again. Seen the ball come out here quite a bit early as he got a gain of about 5. It'll be second and goal from about the 4.
Heavy-duty runner, 5'10", 195 pounds.
As now in the backfield will be Makai Williams, the sophomore. It's in formation once again. Krogstad in the shotgun formation.
Three receivers left, 1 right, and here goes one though crossing.
And the sophomore gets the handoff. He barrels up the middle, trying to get an extra push. And he only gets about a couple and is pushed back after the fact. They'll give him the forward progress. 3rd and goal from the 2.
Tackled by number 29, Michael Shaffis. To be 3rd and goal from the 3-yard line, a gain of 1 on the play.
So 3rd and goal from about the 3. So we have now under 9:35 and counting to play here in the first quarter. Hawks looking to score on their opening drive after an interception was created from the sophomore and Brian Smith on defense. 3rd and goal. Man in motion. And the sophomore Williams takes it in for a Hawks touchdown.
Good blocking there in that offensive line.
So Makai Williams gets the touchdown and puts Hoffman up 6-0 with 9:14 to play here in quarter number 1. And now out to kick for the extra point is Jonah Walton, the sophomore.
Jonah Walton, kick.
Trying to make it a 7-0 ball game. The snap was bobbled and trying to do like a shuffle play there as the ball's knocked down. So the extra point will obviously be no good, a bad snap.
Point after attempt was
as I believe the snap there was by Dan Kim.
Hoffman Estates.
Low snap that trying to recover that one for the Hawks was number 15, Isaiah Cooper. But nevertheless, the touchdown will still stand, and Hoffman has a quick 6-0 lead. And John, we saw what happens. If they give it to Whitehead, great things are going to happen against this prospect defense here off that opening drive.
Yeah, well, he really opens things up. They went with swing passes wide to him, and you've got to get a lot of personnel over there to try to stop him, and they came right back and pounded it up the middle toward the end of that drive. So, and the offensive line played well in that drive for Hoffman. Good blocking, both pass blocking and run blocking.
And I'm glad you brought up that point of the block. You saw the receiver side of it too. When the ball's gone to Whitehead, the first thing that his other teammates that are lined up next to him, they know what they got to do.
They turn
give the ball to
blockers.
Whitehead and give him that passageway.
They go from wide receivers to downfield blockers real quick.
Zardzin and Newman back deep for the Knights. Walton to kick this one off from his own 40. A prospect will try to give itself a redo after the opening drive was led to an interception as Zardzin misses one tackle, just gets ahead of the 20, and that's where James Barn and the offense will start from on drive number 2.
I think DeBuff would like to settle things down here and see his team grind away on the ground here for a while and burn some clock and put some points on the board. They've got a long way to go here. They're starting at about the 24.
2 out to the right, 2 to the left. Shotgun formation for those with Zardzin at the right hip. Snap is taken, throw to the left side. The pass is caught and getting taken down immediately was Matthew Meyer, the junior wide receiver, for a gain of a few. It'll be second down. A gain of about 5 on that one.
Tackle number 88, Rexon Jones, and a gain of 5. Tackle by number 7, the senior Cam Kidrick.
Second down and 5 from 28. The snap now will go to Zardzin, and he will go to his left side. Going to barrel over one defender, gets a gain of a few, and it's going to be third down and a few coming up. Clock at 8:25 and counting. Third down and 3 on the 30. He gets the 3-yard line to convert. The screen play for Zardzin to no avail, and taking a big hit was Phillips, as coming in hot was Ramon Rodriguez, the senior defensive end. And it's fourth down for Prospect. Here comes the punting unit.
Maybe a little mix-up on the assignment there between quarterback and receiver. He threw it more in the direction of the left tackle there.
Malik Whitehead is back deep for Hoffman. He's back at about, it is all 30 right now. The punt is a low, not the greatest punt, but it takes a Prospect bounce, and it'll roll to the 41-yard line, and that's where Hoffman will start offensive drive number 2.
Good enough for 20 yards.
6-0 our score in week 2 of our IHSA football coverage for our HETV Game of the Week from Garber Stadium. It's the Hawks and the Knights in an MSL crossover matchup. Alongside John Anderson, Ryan Fahey with you here on the call, and always the great work from Bruce Anderson, who is actually a fence link away behind us tonight, as we are in the bleachers, and he has his nice little set area for himself. 8:05 to go in the first. Rockstead and the Hawks offense back out. Kai Williams in the backfield. He's the one who scored the 3-yard touchdown on the last drive. 3 to the left, 1 to the right. Ball on the far right hash, and the sophomore is going to get the toss to his left. This is stiff arm defender, gets past the midfield line at the 50.
Getting a lot of running room here tonight.
Yep, and that'll be a first down for Hoffman into Prospect territory.
Toss number 20, Micaiah Williams.
Micaiah Williams, 5'10". He looks a little taller than that, 175-pound sophomore.
Same formation once again as the clock will continue to wind after the chains have been set. Trips left, 1 to the right. Ball on the near left hash from Hoffman. 6-0 they lead.
Here they are again with 3 receivers left.
And the fake to Williams is going to go to Malik Whitehead. He's got another gear, and there he goes. He misses one defender, and he's tackled just short of the goal line at about the 1-yard line. But man, for when he got to that second level, John, it looked like that was going to be an easy 6, but he was caught at the last moment.
One of the Prospect players had a little angle on him and made the best of it, but it puts puts Hoffman at the 1-yard line approximately, and with the first down.
First and goal at the 1, maybe the 6-inch line. Guy Williams in the backfield, Whitehead to the left side. Sophomore got a touchdown run on the last drive, and it's going to happen once again.
Williams on the carry.
Hoffman says
Close.
Yes, but we'll see the official review there. It looks like they're going to say no, he was short, and they'll try it again on second down. It'll be second and goal from the same spot essentially at the 1. See if they try to go to the sophomore again. Man in motion. They do, and he tries to barrel through the pile, and he's going to be stopped. No gain again, and it'll be third down.
At the 1.
It'll be third time's the charm if they try the same play.
2 surprising stops there. Great defense by Prospect.
They filled the hole accordingly, and a whistle. It looks like we have a.
I want to say quickly that class of 92 Dan Boisvert in the house tonight.
Random stoppage of play. Looks like they had to get the ball properly set, so now we can continue the clock with 6:21 to go. Information again. What do they try here? Man in motion. Toss to the left, and Prospect was ready for it. Adam Mecke, the junior linebacker, for a big loss. And it is 4th down for Hoffman Estates, but what a goal line stance from the Prospect Knights, John.
That's surprising, really. That's one of the problems with the spread offense is you're starting so far back that sometimes you get into this kind of trouble. You don't make it on the straightaway plays, and then you try a wide play or something and lose yardage. So here they are, after starting at 1st down and less than 1, and now at 4th and 5.
That was a loss of 4 on that run on 3rd down. Play clock is at 1, and running in time to call a timeout before the delay again was Tim Heisey, as the Hoffman offense was trying to scramble to get the play off, unless they were trying to maybe get Prospect to jump. It's the first timeout for Hoffman used in this first half. They'll have 2 more remaining. 5:17 to play here in this first quarter. Hawks still have a 6-0 lead. And if you're Tim Heisey, are you still going for it and being aggressive here on 4th down, John?
Well, I think on 4th down here,
Answer. High school
this is really a matter of do they have a good kicker or not? And I think the answer is no, they don't. And they're going for it.
Yeah, their kicker's been Jonah Walton. So he stays on the sideline. Offense stays out. 3 to the right, 1 to the left. That's Whitehead. Now Isaiah Cooper's in the backfield, man in motion. On 4th and 5, they're going for it. To the end zone, and is he in? No, they're going to say incomplete. Whitehead had it, but he was out of bounds. And a turnover on downs and a big stop from Prospect as they take over from their own 5.
Very impressive stop there, but on the other hand, it brings up the weakness in the spread formation when you get right down there and you're so far back from the line of scrimmage on those 4th and 1s and those 1-yard pickups.
So it'll be 1st and 10 now for Prospect at their own 5 after a big goal line stance from their defense. As quickly Phillips will toss it to his right as he finds Noah Marks to his right.
I've seen a number of spread teams switch to some type of power running offense when they get down inside the 3, 4, 5 yard line.
There was a gain of 5 there by Marks. 2nd and 5 as Zardson is going to get the carry. A flag comes in.
On the carry, there is a flag.
Looks like that may be coming back.
Zardson had a fairly good night last week.
Jaden Dennis, number 4.
That's going to be a hold on Prospect, I believe, and that's what the officials are calling, so that'll back up the play, and we can get rid of that run from Zardson.
Half the distance to the goal. Be about 2nd and 10.
We're almost back to the original line of scrimmage after the penalty had been called. And that's kind of what they're calling it at the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10, back to their own 5 for Prospect. Phillips all alone in the backfield, 2 to the right, was 2 to the left, 1 man in motion, and Phillips is going to keep it himself. This is his first run of the night. And he is stopped in the pile there. It'll be 3rd down. Talked about Martin, a dual threat quarterback. He had 19 carries for 79 yards in that victory against St. Vida, and that's his first carry of the night. Had a gain of 3 on that run, makes it 3rd and 7. Need to get to the 15 to convert. And as the pass is over the middle, and it is caught. Seeming like having to make a late adjustment there. That was Meyer.
Threw it under the coverage. The coverage was expecting it deeper, and the defender had him beat as far as going for the long pass, but it was a shorter pass, and the receiver was able to go and gather it in.
Correct myself. Rexton Jones on the catch. Rexton Jones on that first down as this one goes outside the numbers to the left side for a loss of a couple. And it'll be 2nd and long now for Prospect.
Loss of 1 on a play, be 2nd and 11.
Under 4 minutes now to play. Loss of 1, 2nd and 11 on the 33. 2 out to the right, 2 to the left, ball on the far left hash.
Hoffman with just 2 down linemen on this set.
Snap taken and the pass.
Pass
Little
attempt, 88, Matthew
miscommunication,
Myers,
it looked like,
That'll bring up 3rd and 11
as
for
Rexon
the
Jones
Knights.
looks back to his quarterback saying, hey, I was going this way. Why'd you throw it over here? Brings up 3rd and 11. A long 3rd down conversion coming up for the Knights.
3 receivers, 4 receivers
And a
There is
whistle
a
and
timeout.
another
To the right.
timeout.
On the field.
That's the 2nd timeout called by Hoffman, so they're down to 1 timeout.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cheerleaders
With
are
3:40 to
selling
go
50-50
here
raffle
in the
tickets
first
crowd.
quarter.
Please support our cheerleading program by purchasing a 50-50
6-0
raffle
our
ticket.
score alongside John
I guarantee
Anderson,
you
Ryan
will
Fay
post
with you
it
for an
to the press box.
HETV game of the week, and we bring it to you from Garver Stadium here at the home of the Hawks at Hoffman Estates High School as they welcome in the MSL crossover conference rival, the Prospect Knights. Hoffman coming off of a thrilling 28-21 victory over the Grenadiers of Elk Grove. While Prospect pulled away for a very nice 4th quarter, 28-13 over St. Viator in their season opener. And both teams break out of the respective huddles after the timeout. Prospect still has all 3 of theirs remaining.
Hoffman lost 18 starters, but they got a number of players that have moved right in and reloaded here.
He trips out to the right with 2 outs, 1 out to the left, I beg your pardon.
Looks like 4 right and 1 left.
Left or right. Thank you for that. Is Phillips is all on in the backfield, and now we have a Prospect
There is a
timeout.
timeout.
And
On the
they'll
field.
be with them 2 remaining, so delaying the action via the team timeouts. Something you just hate to see as a fan. So
Hoffman
Prospect will
lost
talk.
Jalen Alexander to graduation last year, and my younger son is a Purdue alum and has been following the Purdue team through their practice and so on. And Jalen Alexander has excelled in practice there and saw some action last night in the game on national TV.
Purdue hosting Northwestern in their college football opener. Northwestern got the road victory down in West Lafayette. And let it stand now that you can look at the stands in that Big Ten and say Northwestern's at the very top. For now. 3rd down and 11 as we get back to our action here. Snap goes to Phelps. He's rolling to his right. He's looking for somebody, and he finds nothing.
Incomplete pass.
And it is 4th down as Hoffman really covered that one well downfield.
Ryan Treviol.
Hoffman doing a good job against the run here. We'll see. Or St. Viator did fairly well against it for
the Knights.
some time in their game, and then as time wore on, it became more effective for
Punts for the
Prospect.
Knights. Number 29.
Punting unit back out for Prospect. Whitehead back deep for Hoffman. And this one a high pump, but it is not going very far. Penalty flag comes out. Takes a Knights bounce, and it's going to roll to the 35, and Whitehead, for some reason, picked it up, and he was swallowed immediately by a sea of white jerseys. They mark it at the 35. See what the flag is, though. Flag was done at about the 45-yard line on the Prospect side. Call in just a moment. And it looks like it was a sideline warning called against Hoffman.
Hoffman Estates High School.
You see those sideline warning calls called far too often in high school football.
There will be a Hawk.
Not to say those aren't the
First
correct
down.
calls, but you think after the sideline warning, you think that they'll get the hint after that one. Because then if you get called for it again, that really costs your team on the field.
Something that they need to pay attention to, that's for sure.
Krogstad and the Hawks offense back out on their own 35, 3 to the left, 1 to the right. And the snap and the toss will go to the left side. And trying to snake his way around and getting close to the first down is Matt Montgomery, the senior 5'7" running back. Gain of about 7 to the 42, brings up second and short. It's the first carry from Matt Montgomery here tonight. Second and 3, under 3 minutes now to play in quarter number 1. Trips left, one to the far right.
Prospect in a 3-4 set up there. They're front 7, 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers.
And the snap, and the Rockstead faked the throw to his left, tried to sneak it up ahead. Maybe got a yard out of it. It'll still be third and manageable coming up, as he kind of made something out of nothing on that play.
A lot of teams have gone to 2 and 3 down linemen, but I understand Barrington had a real good defense in their game last week, playing 4 down linemen. They were chasing the Warren quarterback all over the field.
That's another team that lost 16 starters to graduation, so Hoffman not the only team in the MSL that's having that kind of an issue. As off the 3rd and 1, it goes to Whitehead past midfield for a easy first down, and why not go to the best target on your team for that 3rd and short?
He's really got an explosive takeoff. He catches that ball and he covers that first 4 or 5 yards awfully quickly.
Under 2 minutes now to play. 1st and 10 from the Prospect 49. The 3 out to the right, 1 to the left. The sophomore Makai Williams, or I should say, yes, the sophomore Makai Williams in the backfield for Krogstad. Makai Williams certainly does have a future, as he's shown it early on. As this ball downfield for Whitehead, just overthrown. As he got an extra step on the defender, and Daniel Gerdes, the defensive back, the senior, and it's 2nd down.
Pass just too long.
Second down and 10, 1:29 to play in the quarter. It is a mild night here at Garber Stadium.
Hoffman executing pretty well. They had a lot of penalties in their first game.
Rush comes off the screen, and dropping it is the sophomore Williams. Took his eyes off the ball before he secured the catch. And that'll bring up 3rd down for Hoffman. That's kind of one of those mistakes out of the young guy that you want to see cleaned up over time.
Both of these teams playing and perhaps significantly Hoffman playing a fair number of sophomores.
Play gets called from the head coach, Tim Heisey. And a timeout. Yet another timeout in this quarter. And that is the 3rd and final timeout for Hoffman Estates, and I am looking off into the distance, and I'm looking to the south end zone, and John, if you saw what I saw, that did not look good.
You see a little lightning?
I did.
Uh-huh.
And of course, in the event of a lightning delay, they do have to clear the bleachers and have the minimum 30-minute delay. Hopefully that stays south and doesn't come this way at all.
Yeah,
stay that way.
I've been in some of those, and I can recall one a year or so, a couple of years ago. Barrington had one for well over an hour and a half or so, and another one a few years ago down at St. Rita, a playoff game. The game was delayed for about an hour and a half.
Originally, I did not see any weather in the forecast. Hopefully that weather stays away from here. We'll get back to the action off.
I think it was forecast to stay fairly dry.
That's what I was under the impression of too. Nevertheless, 3rd down and 10 on the Prospect 49. Grasa takes snap, quick throw over the middle, and it is caught for a first down. And juggling it down to the ground is the senior Jordan Lane.
First down. 18-yard reception.
What a nice play there from Jordan Lane. Didn't have it at first, but was able to get his feet underneath them and then secure it to get down for the first down, as the ball's now at the Knights 31. Krogstad takes a snap, fakes it through over the middle, looking for Lane again, and that one tipped at the line, and the pass is incomplete. And I'll bring up second down. 58 seconds to play in the quarter.
Some big boys in that offensive line for Hoffman. 64, Nicholas Muniz, 260. 78, Marcos Bustos, also 260.
Second and 10, man in motion. That is Marshawn Washington. Go to the left side for Whitehead, looking for his blockers ahead, and gets taken out of bounds just outside of the 25-yard line. Gain of about 8, it'll bring up third and short.
That's a play that we've seen several times tonight. The night is young. We're just, I guess we're still in the first quarter. It's been a long first quarter with a lot of incomplete passes and a lot of passing generally.
And 14 timeouts, 3 from Hoffman, 1 from Prospect.
Between timeouts and incomplete passes, it's been a while. But anyway, we've seen that play with Whitehead with a couple of receivers in front of him for blockers. But I'd say four, maybe even 5 times.
Play clock went down. Play clock went down to 1 as they're looking for the end zone for Lane. Is that one just a hair outside of his reach as they were looking for the deep ball in the 6 points. Didn't get it, and it's fourth down.
Possibilities. The pass was too deep.
Will be 4th and 3.
So now Hoffman at the 24-yard line, 4th and 3. There's not much percentage in any kind of a kick there. Let's see. It's a 41-yard field goal. They passed up a much closer field goal possibility earlier.
Offense staying out there on this 4th and 3. They need to get to the 21.
Punting doesn't do you much good at the 24-yard line.
47 seconds to play in the first quarter. 6-0 Hoffman. 3 to the right. Now a man in motion. That's Lane. Low snap. And the pass looking to the left side for Cooper. Trying to bust his way forward, and it looks like the second effort got it.
Probably got it.
It looks like they got him spotted at the 20. And we'll see if they move the chains, and that's what they're going to do.
Really, the only play there was to go for it. Too long for a field goal and too short for a punt, and not all that far to go to get a first down, which they did.
For Hoffman, where they're at on the field, the wind is blowing from left to right, kind of in their favor out of the southwest direction, but not by much. Clock running under 20 seconds now to play. As the handoff will go to Cooper, gets to the left side, gets to the 10-yard line, and he is in for the touchdown. Isaiah Cooper, 20 yards to the house.
He's their power runner, 195-pounder, and he broke through a tackle early on that and found running room the rest of the way. That puts Hoffman up by two touchdowns. So.
And the offense is staying out there for the 2-point conversion and trying to make it a 14-0 score. Their kicker and Walton's on the sidelines. Him walking around with his helmet on, number 84 in orange. Five on the play clock, 3 to the right. Man in motion, that's Lane. As he snaps to Krogstad over the middle and dropped by Whitehead.
Had a good chance at that one. It may have been just a little bit behind him.
So the score remains at 12-0. Prospect kind of in familiar territory from how it was against St. Viator last week. Obviously, of course, a long way to play tonight at Garber Stadium. 10 seconds remain here in this first quarter, but we're kind of seeing this offense at times move with relative ease here, John.
Yeah, and Hoffman so far playing a game that's been relatively mistake-free. No turnovers, I believe, and not a whole lot of penalties, and maybe there's been 1 or 2, but last week they were riddled by penalties and turnovers, and that was going to be the theme of their practice, get rid of those mistakes, and they really cleaned it up quite a bit. Shows on the scoreboard, 12-0.
You love when you're sitting in the bleachers and the in-between kind of pump-up songs playing, and you kind of hear the crowd getting into it.
Yeah,
is this your jam, John, or
what?
is this song your jam that you listen to on the way home, or?
Not that much, really.
Okay.
I must admit. I'm usually into talk radio.
Okay. So you're not singing this at karaoke night?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm not a karaoke guy.
Okay, all right.
I was at one party like that, and
It never went back.
I was not the star of the show.
But trying to be the star of the show here
wow.
is Zardzin past midfield. And a great run off the kickoff from Luke Zardzin, the sophomore running back deep to return that one. And the Knights will start this drive in Hawks territory as they get a great start here with a first down to start this drive. And they'll have it spotted at the 45-yard line. We mentioned this minutes ago. It looks like the weather that we were sort of talking about during that timeout looks like it's heading eastward. So it doesn't look like it's going to affect this area, which is the best thing we can have asked for. Looks like it's heading away.
Yeah, the wind has changed from out of the south. Well, I did see lightning that time, but it, like you say, it's
and actually
well southeast
and
of
actually,
us.
however, we may have just jinxed it. I think that may have just been the broadcast jinx of.
You're bogus. You forgot pregame.
Are they?
I think that's what
the rules are very tight on this.
Yeah.
I had to research it for a radio talk show about 3-4 years ago, and if you see lightning, it's
I think
the
that's
officials are mandated to
and that's what they're
clear
talking.
the field, and it could be that it could just be saying, is it close enough, or is it off in the distance enough?
Looks like they're checking the radar right now to see if it's heading this way. It's not raining by any means. It is. The wind is. It's a little gust of wind. It's not a lot, but a lot of flashes of lightning in the distance. The question is the matter of, is it going in this direction towards Garber Stadium? And of course, the safety for the players and the fans here in attendance.
Yeah, I was going to say that the wind is basically from west to east right now. It was more from south to north.
Yeah, it looks like they are. Actually, well, it looks like right now the clock. Now they've moved it to the second quarter, so it could have also been a clock issue because
it'll be the end of the first quarter.
They marked that as the end of the first quarter. That I still believe there was about 4 seconds when the kickoff had ended. So kind of an odd way to end a quarter, but nevertheless, we're moving on to quarter two.
I'm no expert, except for having been around and seen lightning for a while. That seems like it's still fairly safely far away from us. As we sit here off to the far southeast, it's probably over Oak Park or something like that.
Looks like the lightning reported 2 minutes ago in the Hoffman area. According to the weather maps provided to us by our very own Bruce Anderson, thank you for that, Bruce. It is in the southeast direction. That's where it appears to be heading. So it looks like we're going to be in the clear. It just may be something we see out of the skies for quite a bit here tonight.
First and 10 Knights.
And somebody just asked for a date to homecoming as we get the second quarter underway. Phillips looking downfield to the left side, and it is caught for a first down and a whole lot more. Rexton Jones for the big carry and the extra yardage after the catch. So a nice jolt, for lack of a better term, to start off this prospect offense here in the second quarter.
12-yard line, Hoffman Estates.
Very nicely executed long pass.
Phillips will give this one on the handoff now as it goes to Chaffis as he goes to his left side, and the ball will be placed at the 10.
He's a fellow that goes both ways. He's out there as a linebacker also.
A gain of 2 on the play.
The 2nd and 8.
I don't think we have a weight for him, but I think he's got to be up around 200 pounds.
2nd and 8, and he's going to get the carry once again. He's going to motion to his right, look for some blockers, tries to deke around one, and that one is a gain of about probably 2 or 3.
We have an official's timeout on the field.
And now we have an official's timeout, and now you have to wonder, is this about the lightning strikes we see in the sky that are, again, appearing to the weather map we were given is not coming this way. But again, that is something they always have to consider in the back of their minds when they see it.
Staying pretty well off to the southeast, and the game continues.
3rd down and 7. Phillips fakes to his left, and he is taken down. On the sack there, Ramon Rodriguez, along with Dennis Jaden, the senior defensive lineman, leading the way, and it's 4th down for Prospect. Now the field goal unit comes on out, as out to kick it will be Anthony Santangelo, the senior kicker. He kind of has the wind in his direction, but it'll be blowing from left to right. Prospect looking for the first points as the snap is botched, and that is going to do it for the field goal attempt. So nothing doing for Prospect. It's still a goose egg for them on the board. And Hoffman Estates will take over in much better field position. So that's 2 times now we've seen some botched snaps from special teams play here in this first half.
Early in the season, but still something that they should have down. Very costly, very costly.
And that's been plays that are really simple fundamentals that you work on in practice and in the preseason during, the 2-a-days in the summer and the scrimmages prior to games when you warm up. Even in pregame warm-ups. 1st down and 10 at the 36 as the handoff goes up the middle, and trying to push for that first down was Isaiah Cooper.
15,
as he gets to the 44, he's about a yard short of the first down. It'll still be 2nd and 1.
Hoffman showing a pretty respectable run game tonight for the most part. Been in some form of a standard spread on about every play tonight, and now they've got 3 wide receivers left.
2nd and 1 as the handoff this time will go up to Matt Montgomery, who gets for the first down and a couple more as he gets into Prospect territory.
That's good enough for a Hawk. First down.
9:46 on the clock here in the first half. It'll continue to wind once the chains are set. Right on cue with the official's whistle. 1st down and 10 at the 48. 3 out to the left, 1 to the near right. Brooks that takes snap, throws over the middle and deflected at the line as he was looking there for the senior in lane.
Pass is intended for number 25.
And it's 2nd down, Hoffman Estates.
Defended by number 6, Adam Ryerson. Will be 2nd and 10 for the Hawks.
9:30 remain on the clock here in quarter number 3. I'm glad you can check us out for our week 2 coverage of the IHSA football season 2018. HETV game of the week, Hoffman Estates Prospect. Alongside John Anderson, Ryan Fate with you here on the call. Great work. On the other side of the fence, Bruce Anderson, as we are out here in the bleachers tonight. 2nd and 10.
That time they had
and trying to
departure from their pattern tonight. They had 3 people in the backfield that time.
And the target there, Whitehead, who had 7 catches for 77 yards last week. Gets the catch there as it's 3rd down and about 6. So we approach 9 minutes to play here in the 2nd quarter. Play clock at 15. At the right hip is Montgomery of the quarterback and Braxton. Krogstad now at the 44, he needs to get to the 38. He's going to throw to the left side looking for Whitehead, and that one over his hands, incomplete. And that one probably should have been caught though. It's 4th down.
Had a hand on it, but couldn't pull it in. 4th down, and they're at the 44, so they'll Try to punt Prospect in deep here with 8:40 to go in the half.
Speak too soon. The offense staying out, 4th and 6.
Offense is staying out. Wow.
Again, the sophomore kicker and Walton staying on the sideline.
Now the quarterback steps back a little bit.
All right, he's going to do the a la Tom Brady style.
Gets rid of the
as this one kind of takes a Prospect bounce and it'll roll to the 20-yard line.
20-yard line. So
the unusual punt formation.
Picks up almost 24 yards on that.
8:30 to play here in the second quarter. 12-0 Hawks. So far, you've seen Prospect on defense. They've had some good stops. It just really has been the offense that hasn't really gotten anything going yet. That one, as they threw the ball to the sideline, that hit one of the student managers in the head. I bet he'll ask for a free lunch at 5th period on Monday, as this one on the throw goes to the right side. And on the catch there was Rexton Jones.
Pass to Myers, complete.
Well, so far, Prospect has not been able to develop the kind of consistency that DeBuff has had with his Johnsburg's teams that did so well. They're taking the air here quite a bit.
As this same play design goes to Jones.
Martin to Meyer on the connection. Gain of 1 on the play.
So 3rd down and 4.
Last week against St. Viator, they got 217 yards rushing, I believe, but they're not on track to that much right now.
Ball to 27 with 8:16 to play. And this one goes now to the left for Brian Doherty, and he is immediately met after he gets the catch.
24 came in and closed.
Marcellus Jr., senior DB, makes it 4th down off the gain of practically nothing, and the special teams unit comes out for Prospect. Whitehead back deep at about his own 33. And on the punt.
Dangerous returner.
Anthony Santangelo will be on the punt, as this one they do not even dare go to White as they kick it out of bounds.
Kicked it out of bounds, kept it away from him.
Let's see where they mark it. They'll probably have it at the 47, I would think. And that's where they're going to have it, at the 47.
47.
7:28 to play here in the first half. 12-0 Hoffman Estates.
First down.
Let's see what this offense can muster up once again. They've been going to a variety of weapons here, John, in this first half.
Yeah. Well, their offense is working fairly good. 2 touchdowns on the board, and they had that one touchdown that could have been when they were first down at the 1-yard line.
As the handoff will go to the sophomore Williams, who gets past midfield for a nice first down run. Be a manageable second down as they have him marked at the 48 of Prospect's side.
Adam Mackey.
Game officially of 5.
We're getting fairly deep into the first half here, and Hoffman playing crisp football, not much in the area of turnovers and penalties here, whereas that plagued them last week. Those 2 things were a problem. 2nd
and 5 as the handoff goes to Williams again. Breaks through a couple of tacklers and is rolled down to the 46, and a flag comes in after the fact as little extracurriculars after the play had ended between Williams and Jack Kasmer. Seemed to exchange some pleasantries after the play had concluded. We saw Williams take another tumble to the ground.
It's a dead ball, personal foul.
And they're going to call that against Hoffman.
Big series for Prospect here. They've got to try to avoid going down by 3 scores.
And they're going to get that foul on the sophomore Williams for the...
This penalty may be just the thing to break up this drive.
Yes, and negates the run. And that's going to bring them all the way back to the 39-yard line. Second and long coming up.
They had a lot of those last week against
It'll be
Hoffman.
3rd and long for the Hawks.
Loss of a down as well off that personal foul. 3rd down and 18. They need to get to the prospect 42 to convert. As this slow snap gets through the legs of Crackstead as he is taken
loss.
down, and
Big loss.
back-to-back plays that is not going to be on the good side of head coach Tim Heisey, and that brings up 4th down and a zip code to go. And now the punting unit will definitely come out for this one.
This will set up prospect with an opportunity to tighten up the ball game here.
34, Jonah Walton back to punt for the Hawks.
So Walton will come in to punt.
Matt Meyer to receive for the Knights.
And Matt Meyer now in to receive for the Knights of Prospect, standing in the back at his own 38. Let's see what the sophomore's leg can do punting. And it's a high punt, gets some distance on it, and it takes a nice Hoffman bounce past the 35 and out of bounds. So a good punt by the sophomore. Prospects offense will come back out on the field down by 12 with 5:53 to play here in the first half.
Well, last week there was a wear down factor. So far it is not in evidence here, where Prospect was able to wear down St. Viator and win that game going away toward the end. So far, Hoffman has been tough to run against.
Trips left and a whistle, and it looks like that'll be backing up Prospect 5 as they call a false start.
Looks to be initial call. False start.
So that'll be a 1st and 15 now with the ball at the 27.
Martin, the senior quarterback, had a pretty good game running last week.
19 carries for 79 yards. As on this 1st and 15. Screenplay immediately met by the Hawks. Arthur Robinson, the 5'8", 235-pound defensive end, read that like a book. 2nd and long once again as Prospect gets backed up even more. 2nd and 20. It was a loss of 5 on that play. Clock at 5:30. Pump fake from Phillips, and he's going to have to scramble himself. Runs into his own lineman, hit from behind, and gets taken down. And a sack by the Hawks.
Hoffman
and
defense.
Ramon Rodriguez.
Impressive.
We've said Ramon Rodriguez's name quite a bit here defensively for Hoffman. He has been all over the field here in this first half for the team in orange. Five minutes to play, and flags come in.
Looks like
on the field.
And
85 got in there.
By the defense.
And it looks like they're going to get that on Robinson, the defensive lineman.
Eric Delaney used to do that.
So that'll push Prospect up 5. Clock at 5:02. Zardson now checks into the game for Prospect. Clock will continue to run. It was on the defense. 2 out to the right, 1 to the left. As rotating to his right, Phillips trying to shake it. Defender, he does. Get some room. Wanted to air it out. Gets hit from behind.
Martin
A wobbly throw is
it's
intercepted. Darian waits on the pick, the 2nd of the night for this Hoffman defense, and they take over with 4:34 to play here in the 2nd quarter at their own 47-yard line.
It was a deep enough pass, so to some degree it had the effect of a punt, but nevertheless you don't like to lose possession.
2nd interception thrown by James Martin tonight. Krogstad now will come back out. 4:34 to go here in this first half of play with his team up by 12. And number 12 under center has a nice 12-0 lead. The clock at 2 as he gets the snap off, tosses it to the right as he finds Matt Montgomery with nowhere to go. And a big loss as they get backed up to their own 39. Loss of about maybe 8 yards as they headed at the 47. The 2nd and about 18 here.
These defenses seem to be having the edge right now, as the coordinators on both sides have had a pretty good look at each other's offense.
Under 4 minutes to play. 3 out to the left, 1 to the near right. Montgomery, the man in motion, and a bad snap there, and not able to get rid of it was Brackstead, and that makes it a 3rd down and a country mile to go for Hoffman Estates. And
same thing as last series where they went backwards.
we've seen a lot of miscues on snaps here tonight.
Unusual number, yeah.
So it'll be 3rd down and 37.
Certainly isn't a bad night for the ball. It's balmy 70 some odd degrees with a high dew point, so it should be a night when it's easy to handle the ball.
3rd down and 37. Not a lot of playbooks have a design for that kind of a yardage situation. Although they're trying there, is trying to get to the second level is Max Locke. Maximus Locke on the carry. Brings up 4th and still very long. Ball at the 35. Under 3 minutes now to play, and a timeout called by a prospect as they want to preserve some time for their offense to get back out there and try to get a score before this first half comes to an end. Prospect has 1 timeout now remaining. Hoffman has none, as they used all 3 of their timeouts back in the first quarter. And if you're Dan DeBuff in this Prospect offense, John, what are you trying to do here, assuming you get the ball back cleanly with 2:52 to play here in this first half? How do you try to generate any spark in this offense that really hasn't been able to do much here tonight?
Well, I think with only 2:52, you're not going to stage a long 80-yard all-on-the-ground drive, but Martin's done all right with some passing. I think we'll see more of that. I think we'll see we'll see him throw the ball to the spread receivers and try to put a little more velocity on it and get some completions and move down the field.
Long to punt it deep. He gets the snap nice and a nice kick downfield, and calling for the fair catch for Prospect was number 33, Nicholas Mariani, with 2:46 to play. So a lot of time here for Prospect to try to get something done.
64 yards to go, so, and 2:45.
It'll be Hoffman getting the ball to start the second half. For Prospect, you really do want this late score in the second
Prospect
quarter.
has 4 receivers to the right.
No
running backs in the backfield.
As the snap goes to Martin, he's going to run to his right, tries to get around. He goes around Robinson, gets around another defender.
A lot of trouble. He can barely, he's a little short of the line of scrimmage.
By the Hawks.
Although it could have been still a big loss without the nice scrambling ability there from James Martin. Who, again, went for 79 yards in the victory against St. Viator last week running. Loss of officially 1 on the play, 2:20 and counting. 3 to the left now as a man in the backfield with Zards in. Lamar's going to keep it himself. Almost helicopters in the air, a la John Elway. And it'll be 3rd down and manageable coming up for Prospect.
Be about 3rd and 4.
And 2 minutes
Just
remaining.
a short pass needed here to keep the drive alive.
And they go to the running game instead, and Zardzin finds a nice hole. And he gets to midfield. He gets to midfield at the 50 for a new set of downs. Clock stops at 1:50 so they can set the chains.
Carried by number 24, Nicolau. Good enough for a Prospect 1st down.
Chains are now set, clock will run. 3 to the left, 1 out to the far right. Martin will take the snap and go to his left, and he looks downfield and staying in bounds. No. As they were looking there for Meyer, I believe. As they were looking for Meyer that time. 2nd down and 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain for the halftime ceremony of our Hoffman Estates Marching Band and Color Guard for your halftime entertainment.
1:38 to play. The shotgun is Martin.
Trick plays usually don't work here. Everybody knows that they've got to pass.
Well, they don't.
The one trick play is to run, really. That's how they got their first down.
And Martin gets past the 45 for a nice run, gain of about 7.
Spread offense lives up to its name. You spread the defense and you run right at it.
1:20 to play with the clock still running. 3rd down and 3 at the Hoffman 44. One man in motion, and the carry will go to number 22 and Noah Marks.
Got some running room.
As
One defender there.
He got the edge. He stays on his feet still, past the 30-yard line, and definitely a first down for the Knights with 1 minute to play. And the clock will once again go once the chains are set. Now the clock will wind. Under a minute to play. Prospect offense trying to get something going. Martin is going to be wrapped up and down.
Couldn't get out of the grasp there.
The senior Cam Kindred, his first sack of the night. 2nd down, a long way to go with the clock still running. Prospect going to need to hurry up if they want to get something going.
One of a number of players who sees action both on offense and defense, and playing defensive back in that
There's a timeout.
And a whistle, and finally a timeout called by Prospect. 34 seconds remaining, and they probably lost about, let's say, 12 or 14 seconds after the sack. They were thinking of calling that timeout, and those could be seconds they wish they had back.
Quite an opportunity when they got that first down, way down at the 26, but now they've gone backwards and they've eaten up some time, and so now with 34 seconds left, they've got 38 yards to go.
And they got the ball officially marked at the 38, as you mentioned, John. Band obviously be performing at halftime. That'll be our halftime break, and we'll have second half action for you and more coming up on our HETV Game of the Week. Alongside John Anderson, Ryan Fay with you here on the call. Garber Stadium here in Hoffman Estates, Illinois. The home of the Hawks, Hoffman Estates High School. I do want to point out,
34 seconds, it's probably bombs away here.
I do want to point out that looks like there was a Prospect player that is on a stretcher right now, as hit as he was thrown, pass incomplete.
Push up the field by number 4, Jaden Dennis, the senior.
As Dennis came in with the pressure, brings up 3rd and long. But again, I wanted to bring up, seeing in the north end zone, looks like there was a medical injury, somebody on the stretcher from the Prospect side. I didn't know if that was a player or not, but hopefully they're okay. 3rd and 22, the screen play deflected at the line, and that's Arthur Robinson, the 5'8 senior, at it again.
At the line of scrimmage. 4th and long for the Knights.
So 4th and long with 24 seconds to play in the half. And of course the Prospect offense is going to stay out there to try to get something on the board here before this first half comes to an end. And actually they are going to concede and just go and punt it. It'll be Michael Chaffis to kick it deep, with Whitehead back to possibly return for the Hawks, standing at about his own 8-yard line.
With 24 seconds left, I think I would have tried a long pass there.
But this one is booted deep into the end zone for a touchback. 17 seconds remain on the clock, and you'd have to imagine Hoffman probably just going to take a knee here and go to the half with a nice 12-point lead, as they have been hawking on defense here in this first half.
They certainly have been, and both defenses playing pretty well, but especially Hoffman Estates.
So the offense comes back out for Hoffman.
Probably says something about Elk Grove. Elk Grove, Miles Osei is the new coach. He's in his 2nd year over there, and he was a star for some of the Prospect teams of a few years ago, and had a rough first year as a coach, but apparently he's gotten Elk Grove playing fairly well this year.
So with 17 seconds, they're going to give this one off now to Matt Montgomery, who gets past 25, and that'll probably be the end of the first half as the clock will wind down. As now they actually are going to stop
away,
the
we're
clock.
down to
and
stopped at 6.3.
It looks like Matt Montgomery got hurt as he was taken down after the run had stopped. He got a gain of about 7. And you hate to see that on a play where you just wanted to get something to end the first half on, and you're perhaps ending it with an injury to one of your key components to your offense. So they're taking a look at his left ankle. Medical staff looking at him on the field right now. 12-0 our score with 6 seconds to play here in the second quarter. I'll correct myself, Marshawn Washington on the carry who was hurt, and there he will limp off with some help from the trainers and one of his teammates is offensive lineman, and Femi Ojeni, as they'll let the clock finally wind down. And that'll do it for half number 1 here at Garber Stadium. More of a sour way to end the first half for Hoffman with the injury to Washington, but nevertheless, they'll take a 12-0 lead going into the half over the Prospect Knights. We'll take our halftime break and come back for second half action and a whole lot more in this MSL crossover conference battle between the Hoffman Estates Hawks and the Prospect Knights on our HETV Game of the Week. Be back in a bit. About to get you set for second half action here at Garber Stadium. The Hoffman Estates Hawks have a 12-0 lead over the Prospect Knights. Alongside John Anderson, I'm Ryan Faye with you here for our HETV Game of the Week. All 12 points came in the first quarter from Hoffman Estates. Nothing doing sense from either side in terms of scoring. What did you like overall from Hoffman there in that first half, John?
Well, their defense played very, very well. They were aggressive, stopping the run. Prospect likes to run the football. They ran the football fairly well last week, especially late in the game. So perhaps they'll get their game going here in the second half. But thus far, their run game has come up pretty short, and their passing game hasn't been enough to get it done. And so they sit here at halftime with 0 points. And I think the Hoffman defense is looking pretty darn good.
Yeah.
They really played with real hustle, execution, and throughout the half there. And the defensive backs have been coming up and making some key tackles. So it's been quite a performance for Hoffman on defense. And last week they allowed more yardage and points, and so they've shown quite a week-to-week improvement in their performance.
And they have been able to keep quarterback James Martin in check on the side of Prospect. He's thrown 2 interceptions tonight. Darian Waits and Brian Smith, the 2 guys that have picked him off here tonight. But that's also to say this defensive line that's kind of been led by Ramon Rodriguez and Arthur Robinson, who have really kind of dictated their pressure on this offensive line of Prospect that really hasn't had any answers through one half of play.
Yeah, it's really been, unless Prospect is able to assert itself, and the way last week they came on strong toward the end, but here they really had a fairly weak first half on offense, and they need a big improvement against this Hoffman defense in order to get back into this game.
Prospect Knights in their white uniforms on your screen. They'll be kicking left to right. Hoffman Estates in their home orange going right to left as they return it back. It'll be Malik Whitehead and Makai Williams, who got a 3-yard touchdown rush in the first quarter to open the scoring for Hoffman Estates. And kicking this one away will be number 12 for the Prospect Knights, and Benjamin Piscatelli. And kick it off of his own 40 left to right, as we are about to get the second half underway in this MSL Conference crossover battle in week 2 of the 2018 season, as the second half is now underway. As this kick, the wind really let that one die out, as the kick will be received at about the 22-yard line, as picking that one up for the Hawks was Jordan Lane. Didn't get much on the return, as the first drive of the second half will now commence for this Hawks offense.
Jordan Lane on the return for the Hawks.
Here comes Kyle Braxted in the Hawks offense, that when they've gone to Malik Whitehead, this Prospect Knights defense has kind of been on their heels at times.
We do have a backdrop of some lightning here, but as we checked it out at halftime, it's mostly quite some distance southeast of the stadium.
1st and 10, ball in the 27.
A lot of games in the south suburban area have been affected by it and under weather delays still. Thankfully for our sake, it stayed away from here as right on cue is Whitehead with the catch. And Whitehead gets close to the 40 for the first down, and that, I believe, is going to be enough, and it will be.
That's a play that's been working all night.
Malik Whitehead has been the go-to target, even dating back to their season opener against Elk Grove in that thrilling 28-21 overtime victory to kick off the season. Whitehead had 7 catches for 77 yards in the Week 1 victory, as they've been feeding the well again tonight. As, speak of the devil, Whitehead with the spin move past the 45, and he is quick on his feet, John.
He really explodes once he gets the ball, and if they don't take him down early, look out. He can go the distance.
There's a gain of 6 there on the catch from Whitehead. 2nd and 4, ball at their own 46. Third quarter just underway. Flips to the left, one out to the far right, and in the backfield, Braxton, the quarterback. As he's going to look downfield, he finds Lane wide open, and he's got an open lane to the end zone. Touchdown, Hawks.
That's
54 yards to the house. Jordan Lane.
Senior wide receiver, 5'8", 175-pounder, just burst out there by himself. And Hoffman Estates opens up a 3-score game here early in the second half.
And you kind of saw there on the right side of the secondary of Prospect, they kind of got aggressive and closed in on a slot receiver, leaving Lane wide open down the field.
Got way out in front of everybody. Nobody took him.
Sophomore Jonah Wall now for the extra point attempt. Had some issues here trying to execute on special teams here tonight. That'd be the one thing they might have had to have addressed at halftime.
Snaps have been a problem. That's a good one.
Yeah, but the kick is
the kick is bad. Blocked. A little low. Got blocked. And so
the saying goes one thing
so far,
after
no
another.
Extra points for Hoffman, and it's 18-0 with 10:54 to go in the third.
If it's not one thing, it's another. So 10:54 to play, as John mentioned, off of the 54-yard touchdown reception from Kyle Krogstad to Jordan Lane for the touchdown. Boy, that really just made Prospect's defense in the secondary look silly on that play.
Yeah, that was a major lapse on the part of Prospect there. Nobody came even close to picking him up.
Miller from Western and Austin Terry.
So out to kick this one away will be
Prospect in some real trouble here. They were I don't think they were behind by more than 6 points or so last week. Now they've got a pretty good sized mountain to climb here, 18-0.
Well, now for the kickoff, as he makes sure it's on the tee as the wind gusting from his left to right on the field. Zardson back deep for Prospect. And the kick will go to Zardson from his own 9. He actually thought about letting it go as he gets close to his own 20. And that's where the Knights offense will come on out to the field.
Really? Half a Weber, I guess, is important right now. The old, right?
10:49 to play still here in this third quarter as we've just gotten this second half underway. It's star so far of this second half, Jordan Lane with the 54-yard touchdown reception. So nothing but an open lane for the touchdown. It's 1st and 10 now for Prospect on the far left hash as Barnes is going to keep it off the fake handoff. And again, leading the way to stop him, Arthur Robinson, the 5'8" senior defensive end, Johnny on the spot. As a gain of about a yard. Still 2nd down and long as we have an injured Hawks player on the field, and that is Arthur Robinson that is hurt. And this could be a huge blow to the Hoffman defense. He made the tackle on the quarterback, James Martin, as it looks like they're checking out his right leg. He may have got it pinned underneath as he was making the tackle. the second Hoffman injury we've seen here. We saw Marshawn Washington get the run at the end of the first half to end the first half, and he went down with a left leg injury. So now we can get back to play as they've helped Robinson off to the sideline. Was walking off on his own power, which is obviously a good thing to see. So play resumes with 10:30 now and counting. 2nd and 9. Pass to the left side for Myers, complete. Jukes around one defender. Can't get around the second, though. As forward progress gave him a gain of about 4 yards. It'll be 3rd and manageable coming up here for Prospect.
St. Charles East 31, Carmel Mundelein 0. Carmel Mundelein lost a few players where they transferred to Antioch during the season. Antioch was 9-0 last year. Carmel has had a few off years, and so we're seeing more of that kind of thing with transfers.
And it looks like we have another Hawks player injured. Didn't see who went down on the play, though. Now we're seeing the injuries starting to pile up here, and this is something, obviously, John, that you don't want to see.
Yeah, it's...
Get a number on who went down in just a moment. Currently, it's 3rd down and 5 with 10:18 to play. They've got it spotted at the 25-yard line. And I wouldn't say the excuse of, the weather having players cramp up a bit, because it's really not that hot out or warm by any means.
Really a beautiful evening, and we've had some relief from the dew point here just in the last 15 minutes or so. The air doesn't, to me at least, it doesn't feel anywhere near as sticky as it did at the outset of this game.
Although areas south and east of us may be begging to differ on that one.
Those areas may have a lot of genuine rain falling, but definitely it feels like the air is a little lighter.
Yeah, I was looking online there during the injury timeout to Arthur Robinson that we had a few moments ago. A lot of games, the South Suburban Conferences, Maine South Mount Carmel at Gately Stadium are all under weather delays. At least 15 games in the Chicagoland area currently under weather delays still.
Wow. And
some games right now still are in the first quarter because of it, meanwhile here we are in the third. So there's going to be some late nights in the Chicagoland area for high school football tonight.
The Lightning remains distant from us, but I've noticed that it's moving north. So it could be affecting teams, games more in the Central Suburban League. That New Trier Loyola contest, which I understand from a few friends they were expecting a tremendous crowd there. That's probably affected by it now. And
it seems like the weather kind of took like a U-shape around Garber Stadium and just went that way.
So far, we're all right.
So far, fingers crossed.
The lightning delays can be for a long time and not much fun. You get in a corridor of a school and after you've looked at a few of the photographs of football players from 15 or 20 years ago, it gets old real fast. People are constantly, rumors start spreading. We're going out soon, and it's a dull sort of event.
That was the senior Cam Kindred that was down on the play, who is being helped off to the sidelines now. Kindred, the 6-foot senior defensive back. So it looks like taking his spot out defensively. It looks like Marcellus Chu moves over to the left side, and coming in, appearing would be number 44 in Adam Burks, the tight end who also plays linebacker. Haven't seen 44 out there often, so it looks like he may be getting some more snaps in the second half now due to the injury from Kindred. Play back underway, 3rd down and 5, as handoff will go on the end around perhaps, but is ended by the Hawks defensive line, and meeting him immediately was Noel Pena, the 5'7" senior outside linebacker, and it's 4th down and 9.
And the Hoffman defense continues the pressure here.
Punting unit out for Prospect.
At 18 points on the board is starting to look pretty formidable.
Malik Whitehead back deep from about his own 43 to receive this punt.
Punting into the wind and then punting to Whitehead.
Yeah, well, he got off a nice punt, though. Whitehead's going to get it from about his own 38-yard line. What can Whitehead do for you? And he will get this one to the 45.
Down to the 45.
He was about to get in 5th gear there and take off.
Prospect.
But nevertheless.
What happened? As we sit here, there's some
it looks like
distraction in the crowd just to the west of us.
Yep, and there's another injured
to the
Hawk
north of us, I should say.
on the field. The injury is really just starting to come out of nowhere. So Chu being helped off the sidelines. This is the 4th injured Hawk we've seen here tonight, unfortunately. As we now get back to play underway. Ball at the Prospect 45-yard line. Darkstead under center. He's going to take the snap. He's going to hand off to the sophomore, Makai Williams, who barrels forward for a gain of a few. It'll be 2nd down.
Number 28, Makai Williams on the carry.
Here's a score from
Tough running down the
southwest suburbs, I guess, or IC Catholic is leading Joliet Catholic 14-0. IC is a program that was down for many, many years and has come up in the last 3-4 years. And here they are over perennial power of Joliet Catholic, which is not what it used to be, quite frankly. The last couple of years it's been off quite.
Immaculate Conception, assistant coach Matt Bowen on that team, on the coaching staff, former NFL veteran. As this pass way over the outstretched hands of Whitehead, and it's incomplete to bring up 3rd down, but IC Catholic Prep has had a lot of success over the last few years.
Yeah, they've won a couple of state titles. They play at a small level. I think it's 3A or 4A, but nonetheless, state championships. And prior to that, for a number of years, they didn't do too much of anything.
And at the half, it's Conant 6 and Elk Grove 3.
Here, yeah, I've got second quarter, Schaumburg 7, Wheeling 0. Rolling Meadows, second quarter, 7, Palatine 7. There's a couple of mid-suburban league scores.
And coming into the conference as a whole, from the West and East divisions, John, I mean, it is kind of wide open as
Barrington 14-0 at halftime against Buffalo Grove. That's a pretty significant score. Buffalo Grove scored 49 points last week against Downers Grove North. The Barrington defense did not allow a touchdown against Warren. Their touch, one was a pick 6 and one was set up by a blocked kick. Warren only had to go about 15 yards for a touchdown. So that Barrington defense, I've heard, looks terrific this year.
Off that loss on 2nd down, 3rd and 13 as the pass was for Whitehead, but it could not corral it cleanly, and it's 4th down.
That'll bring up 4th and long.
So that'll bring up 4th and 13, and again, the head coach and Tim Heisey trying to keep the specials team unit down to a minimum, as they really haven't had much success in fundamentals tonight. So the offense staying out there, as the wind really starting to pick up now out of the southwest direction. 8:31 to play here in this 3rd quarter. Still 18-0 Hoffman Estates. 2 outs to the left,
They've
one
got
to the right.
a different.
And this is the kind of the pooch punt. And this one, oh, the ball comes out.
Oh,
Whitehead
boy,
recovers. Hawks ball.
recovered by Hoffman.
Well, that's a 4th down play you've always drawn up in practice. Malik Whitehead falls on top of it, and a kind of a completion, so to speak, for Hoffman Estates. 1st down Hawks, they get the ball back. So new set of downs for Hoffman Estates. Uncharacteristically, a way to convert on 4th down.
Oh, I don't need more.
8:21 to play here in the 3rd quarter. 2 out to the right, 1 to the left. Darkstead in shotgun formation. He's got Cooper at the left hip. Clock will now wind after the chains have been set. Looks to Whitehead again, and he is incomplete.
Almost caught.
And it was double teamed there by the prospect secondary, and you can't say that you can blame
Number 7
the
was
head coach in Dan DeBuff there for double teaming Whitehead now. Still making 2nd and 10 from the Knights' 16-yard line. Seconds now left on the play clock. 2 men in the backfield now. You got Adam Burks at the right hip and Isaiah Cooper at the left hip. 2 out to the right, 1 to the left. Cooper gets the handoff to the left side and gets taken down just ahead of the 15-yard line, and it'll bring up 3rd down.
Right on carry. Picked up 2 or 3.
Noticing now that ever since Hoffman realized that Whitehead's starting to be double teamed by the prospect secondary, they're trying to go to some other options now to try to really expand the defense.
A little bit of spreading it around as well as running a little bit more.
A big play from the wide receivers times from Jordan Lane, who had the 54-yard
Whitehead is
touchdown
really
reception.
something special, and they had a couple of really good receivers here last year, but Whitehead keeps that tradition going.
And right on cue, they go back to Whitehead on the trying to cut back around to trying to go juke from his right to left after the 5 steps.
They had a tandem last year with Jalen Alexander, the player who's now at Purdue, and another Jalen Bissett, who was a tall receiver. And between the 2 of them, they had quite a pair. But Whitehead is an exceptional receiver, so he keeps Hoffman strong in that department.
After the incompletions, 4th down and 7, 7:26 to play in the 3rd.
They've got 5 receivers now on this obvious passing situation.
There's a timeout.
There is 2 seconds left on the play clock, and prospect decides to call a timeout to talk things over. We'll have 2 remaining in the half. Hoffman still has all 3 of theirs. And if we exclude Malik Whitehead here, John, what are some weapons you want to look for here on 4th down to try to convert this?
Well, I always think in a situation like this, you need to throw it. You need to throw it so that it's going to come down in 1st down territory. They're going to be playing you tight, and you don't want to try to throw a screen pass under it and run it the rest of the way. So I think it could be any of these receivers, but I think you'll have one receiver each going for the corner of the end zone here, toward the east and west sides of this end zone, and so that the fade route is a possibility.
4th down and 7. They need to get to the 7 to convert. 2 out to the left and right. And the pass is going to go to Maximus Locke.
Goes underneath.
And it's not going to be enough, though.
Maximus Locke, number 2, is complete.
Got about 4 yards on it.
Proven wrong, but that's what I was saying. When you throw these short ones, and you've got to get 12 yards on 4th down, it's just too easy for the defense to pursue and catch him before he goes 12 yards.
So a turnover.
I like throwing at 12 yards and see what happens.
Turnover on downs for the Hawks offensively. And that will bring back James Martin and the Knights offense down by 18. Still yet to put anything on the scoreboard that have the Knights. As this one on the quick throw to the right is for Marks as he goes out of bounds. A gain of maybe a yard, still 2nd down.
Really good speed on this Hoffman defense. The linebackers and defensive backs really close to the football very, very quickly. You have 2 down linemen. Everybody else is running. Look at this.
Yeah, and the pass to Meyer isn't
4 or 5 tacklers
met
right
by
there.
the Orange C, as leading the way there for the Hawks defensively on that tackle was Femio Jenny. And there's a gain of maybe another yard. It'll be 3rd down and 8 now for the Knights. Again, this is an offense that likes to keep the tempo up. It hasn't been able to do much here tonight. As Martin looks downfield for Meyer, and the big hands, makes the big catch downfield for first down.
About the 41-yard line. That will be a prospect first down.
So a gain of about 25 on the play. Makes it first down and 10 for the Knights. With 6:40 now to play in the third quarter, counting. Meyer, the man in motion we just spoke of. And keeping it is Martin on the option as he gets past the 45 and then met by a lot of blockers. Martin stayed on his feet. We're marking down at the 46, and a flag comes out late after the play.
There's another flag on the play.
And it looks like some extracurriculars surfaced after the fact, and it looks like that's going to go on Hoffman Estates. As it looks like Noel Pena was the one that was mixing up with some white jerseys after the play had concluded. So that may be some bonus yardage now for prospect.
Well, Hoffman could have put it away had they capitalized on that fumble recovery, but it's still 18-0, which is a big advantage, especially the way their defense is playing at this moment.
John, sideline warning issued to prospect now, so both teams have been issued the sideline warning. So now the ball will be spotted in Hawks territory at the 38 because of the personal foul penalty. Clock will now start to wind. Chains have been set. Ball at the 38. Low snap. Martin will keep it. Roll to his right. And he tries to set. Nowhere to go. Escapes one defender, and he's just going to throw it away and live to fight another day. Second down prospect.
Good pressure by number 44, Burks.
Again, this defensive line, John, of Hoffman Estates has just been all over Martin tonight.
And also Arthur Robinson, number 95.
Second down and 10 on the 38.
Two down linemen, but the ends are standing up more like linebackers.
And right on cue about the ends. Getting the sack. That's going to be number 53. Kavorsi Howard, the sophomore, who came in for the injured Arthur Robinson. So the sophomore contributing
Third and 18.
as an injury replacement here tonight. So that's going to really impress the staff of the Hoffman Estates football squad. Third down and 18.
It's really a four-man line, but defensive end standing up.
Under 5:40 now to play and counting. Third and 18. 3 out to the right, 1 to the left.
A little better view.
As Martin steps up and tries to evade some. The ends coming in again, and nothing doing. And fourth down for prospect once again. And good to see out there making that tackle was number 95, Arthur Robinson. So it is good to see him back out there after the injury he suffered. So a great relief on the side of Hoffman Estates, John. It's now approaching 5 minutes to play in the third.
Another drive of prospects.
Oh, and they were going to try the trickery play. They wanted it, but a timeout was called.
Timeout called, and that reveals the play there rather than a.
How's that for
kick.
calling a clutch timeout in the third quarter by the Hawks? As setting that one up there was number 7 in Dylan Brett, who was in. They had three men in the backfield for this punt formation, and it was Brett the one that caught the ball off the trick play attempt, and that was when the play was dead as Hoffman called the timeout before the snap. So just nothing going prospects way here tonight.
It'll make it about 10 times as hard to try to pull that off now. They'll almost certainly have to go ahead and punt. Now they don't have anybody over there in that spot, so it looks like they'll punt, but they've got to deal with Mr. Whitehead there back to receive the punt, and
Whitehead back to receive.
Very dangerous.
And they're going to run to the right in. Punt that does
He
not
punts
go
it, but
Prospect's
it went
way.
almost straight up in the air. Does
Well,
get a bounce for Prospect.
That punt will be down by the 27-yard line.
Yeah,
So Hoffman will take over with 4:41 left in the third quarter and an 18-0 lead.
4:41 to play in the third, still 18-0. Hoffman Estates. Again, glad you're with us for our HETV Game of the Week. It's week 2 of the IHSA 2018 football season. Alongside John Anderson, Ryan Fay with you here on the call. Again, as always, special thanks to Bruce Anderson for the great work behind the scenes, running the camera here tonight as well. 4:41 to play in the third. Trips to the left, one out to the right. As Cooper's at the left hip, Krogstad the quarterback. And tip back made by Matt Montgomery with a nice run towards midfield for a first down.
Number 6, the senior Matthew Montgomery, good enough for the Hawk. First down.
So Montgomery with a nice run to the 49. Chains will be set and the clock will now run. Same formation once again.
3-man defensive line for Prospect here.
And they got
Three down linemen and 5 linebackers.
Montgomery with the run again, gets bounced off of one man. He gets a gain of a yard at midfield at the 50.
Looks like number 51.
Now have under 4 minutes to play here in the third. Still 18-0 Hawks.
No, we got him.
As the coach, Tim Heisey, will send the play out to his quarterback. Hoffman playing at their own pace, knowing they've got command of this ball game. Krogstad with the snap goes to his left. Oh, a hot pass, was looking for Lane, who wasn't even looking for the ball. As that one falls incomplete, nobody home for that one, and it'll bring up third down. It looks like Kai Williams now will check in, as they'll give Montgomery a breather. A well-deserved one, if anything.
Well, the normal strategy here is to run the football a little bit more than usual, but that's not necessarily the style of Hoffman
And the
Estates.
screenplay for Makai Williams does not work, as that one was deflected. As getting the deflection there was Adamecki, the linebacker.
Brings up a 4th down.
Krogstad takes his helmet off in frustration.
So with 3:30 left in the third quarter, they'll punt it away. Prospect will have another opportunity to put the ball in play and see if they can get some points on the board for themselves.
It'll be the sophomore and Walton to punt this one away. Back deep is number 33, Nicholas Mariani. That ball was blocked, actually. A line drive punt. Takes a nice Hoffman bounce inside the 10. And Mariani is going to pick it up, and he gets past the 25.
Ran right past a couple of defenders there and brought it out to about the 32. It was a deep kick.
And it kind of
looked like it was going to be a big winner for Hoffman Estates, but he grabbed it and ran with it quickly and brought it out to putting it right on the 30-yard line.
Well, I think that, and I think some of the Hoffman guys were under the impression he was just going to let it go out of bounds and not even make a run on it.
Yeah.
Because you saw them get a little flat-footed as he picked up the ball and started running.
It was one that appeared to be sort of hot to handle. It was sort of a low punt, a lot of velocity on it, long. But he was able to grab it and return it.
First down and 10, 3:18 to go in the third, and penalty flags come out, and they back up Prospect 5. Tough to see. And that's looking like it's what it'll be at the moment. You see Prospect even backing himself up 5 yards, and that's what it is.
Don't have any statistics, but I don't think the Prospect run game is up to their hopes and expectations. This Hoffman defense has played very well tonight.
As Martin on the keep once again is met immediately by a sea of orange.
Got a little gain there.
Noel Pena, number 32, on the tackle.
From a first and 15 situation, he picked up a couple. Now second and 13.
Ball at the 27 as Martin has the pressure come, and Meyer cannot make the catch. Oh, it was in his hands too.
Almost had it there, just bobbled it.
Meyer's incomplete. Nice coverage.
Another blow to this prospect offense. Just when you think they try to get something going. They had the completion of Meyer earlier in the quarter that was for about a 24-yard completion at midfield, and then nothing happened with the offense after that.
Yeah.
Almost kind of the same play there, but nothing doing. Third down and 13 on the 27, 2:43 to play in the third. Martin, pressure comes to his right side, throws over the middle and almost intercepted, and a flag comes in late, and it looks like they may be getting pass interference there on Hoffman Estates, and the crowd here in front of us does not like that.
Yeah, it looked like they were both going for the ball.
And that is what they're going to call pass interference on the Hawks.
Crowd unhappy with the call.
It looks like they got that one on Ryan Smith, the sophomore.
Against the Hawks.
Hoffman playing a lot of defenders deep right now in this game. They have about 4 men in the box and 7 deep. And their linebackers are well off the line of scrimmage.
Martin rolling to his right, and the pass is caught. Brian Doherty for a gain of a few, maybe. Actually, they're going to say he lost about a yard, so second and long. Two out to the near right, two out to the far left, and a whistle for the snap. And what we have here. I don't know what we have here. No timeouts, just they wind now they wind the clock, so I guess an official's delay. Nevertheless, second and 10. Martin looking downfield, can't find anybody, tries to make something for himself, and gets a gain of a few as the ball is stopped at the 44-yard line. That'll bring up third down and 8.
It'll be third and 8.
1:50 now to play in the quarter. So far, John, the adjustments.
Now we see seven guys back on pass defense here.
Oh, and Martin almost actually lost it on the delayed handoff, perhaps. Pump fakes, rotates around to his own 30, nowhere to go, and he is down.
Down at about the 27. Big loss on that.
With support from Birch.
They'll have to punt, and it'll
Dennis Jaden
set up Hoffman with a decent, with good field position, almost certainly.
Dennis Jaden with the long
Malik
sack.
Whitehead back.
Malik Whitehead back deep. And again, the adjustments, John, you wanted to see from Prospect coming into this quarter and the second half as a whole. We have not seen it at all here through 11 minutes of this third quarter of play.
No, we haven't.
Oh, and a bobbled snap there, look out. And somehow getting the kickoff. How about a scramble?
Not very deep.
Not very deep, but they'll take it. Michael Chaffis scrambled to get the punt off. He's actually yelling at the official for interference.
Picked up about 8 yards on that punt, as it turned out.
Still want to give credit there to Chaffis for still being able to get the punt off.
To get it off was quite an effort.
As the ball is spotted at the Prospect 38-yard line with 43 seconds to play here in the third quarter.
Now, there's certain adjustments that can be made, but Prospect is a team that likes to run the football. They do pass the football, but it's one of those nights where the defense of Hoffman is just playing superb football, and in a few seconds here they'll have a shutout going at the end of 3 quarters.
First and 10 at the 38. The handoff will go to Matt Montgomery, who gets the edge to the left side, and he's taken down at about the 35-yard line.
Matt Montgomery on the carry. Picks up about 3.
Matt Montgomery has He didn't start tonight's game, as more so Mekhi Williams getting the load in the first half, but has been a nice contributing piece here in this third quarter with some nice runs as we run under 20 seconds to play in the third.
Looks like they're going to let it run off and be the end of the third quarter with 18-0. It's a tall order for Prospect to try to come back here.
As the third quarter will come to an end, and we'll begin the fourth quarter with the Hawks still up 18-0.
Very impressive defense tonight on the part of Hoffman Estates.
And looking ahead at their schedules respectively, Prospect will be going to Niles North next week in still non-conference action. You get towards the middle of the season, that's when the conference schedules essentially begin. And on the side for Hoffman Estates, they will be on the road heading to Glenbrook North next Friday night. So with this fourth quarter about to begin, they'll switch sides of the field. And yeah, we mentioned, John, how this Prospect defense has shown some good spots here tonight, but it hasn't been able to carry over to their offensive side of the ball. And that's kind of been the theme here. We saw in that third quarter looking for adjustments. We didn't get it. Not to say that we'll make adjustments here in this fourth, but it surely isn't looking good if you're a Prospect fan.
I don't know. They're in a situation where they're down by 18, so it's...
Montgomery gets the carry here to start the fourth quarter, and he may have lost a couple yards on the play, actually, as it'll be third down and long now for Hoffman Estates.
Like a tighter formation there. They may just, in the twilight of the game here, just go all out for the run and safety.
It actually kind of looks like on the other side of the sideline, it seems like some of the Prospect fans are heading for the exits a little early here tonight, trying to beat the traffic.
Few that are meandering toward the exits. Here we have a little different.
Here comes Montgomery on the third down run, and a nice effort on that third down run, but still going to be short of the first down.
And 5 for the Hawks.
A gain of about 3 or 4. Fourth down and 5 now as we have 11 minutes to play in regulation. Clock will still continue to wind, obviously. Again, a nice night for football here at Hoffman Estates, at least. If you were in other areas on this night, you may be saying otherwise. The Storm avoided us, and we're happy about that.
4th and 5.
As a slow snap picked up by Crockstad. He's looking downfield. He's looking for Whitehead. He's got it! And did he hold on? Yes, he did. Touchdown, Hoffman Estates. Wow. Malik Whitehead, catch of the night.
Having quite a banner night here. That should just about do it. The Hawks of Hoffman Estates now up 24-0 with 10:33 left to go.
Yeah, that may have just been the exclamation point on their night. Trying to go to 2-0 on the young season. Continue the magic they had in the playoffs last year, lead into 2018.
Quite an improvement over their first game with Elk Grove, where they had so many penalties and turnovers.
Colin Panic on the extra point attempt. It is up, and it is no good.
Oh, good.
So when the snap and the hold and the kick looked good, they still did not get the extra point. So 4 extra point attempts to no avail.
Probably a little extra time spent on conversion kicks next week, I suspect.
I think that's going to be harped on a lot in practice coming up before they head to Glenbrook North. That's just a hunch I have.
Yeah, probably a pretty good hunch.
So 24-0 our score. Hoffman Estates in control here at Garber Stadium here tonight. Thanks for tuning in on our HETV Game of the Week for Week 2, alongside John Anderson, Ryan Fay with you here on the call.
They've slowed down the running game of Prospect all night long. They're showing no signs of wearing out or fading here. They're still an aggressive, strong defense at this point of the game. And last week, Prospect was able to work hard and run their football and eventually St. Viator wore down, but that doesn't seem to be the case tonight.
Maybe Zardzin and Noah Marks back deep for Prospect. Walden will kick this one away. 10:33 to play in the fourth, still 24-0 Hoffman Estates, as they've had control here all night. Line drive kick will go to Zardzin from about his own 12. As Zardzin gets to the extra level, and look out here, Zardzin with a nice return to the 45.
Well,
maybe that'll do something for the Knights.
Return, venture tackle by Nila Saram.
Almost breaking away there was Zardzin to the house as he got to the next level.
Scoreboard update. MSL West Football, Schaumburg defeats Wheeling 23-0.
Some other scores we're hearing over the PA. Schaumburg defeated Wheeling 23-0 this evening over at Wheeling High School. First and 10 for the Knights on their own 45. Marks in motion. Martin will keep it. Martin will look downfield for Meyer, but he way overthrows that one incomplete.
Halftime, Rolling Meadows and Palatine tied at 7.
And Rolling Meadows and Palatine tied at 7 at the half. Now, we're in the fourth quarter and they're at half, so they may have been affected by the water that was circulating around this area early. A lot of games in the Chicagoland area on this night, probably going to be going towards the 11 o'clock evening hour in Chicago.
We're 20 minutes to 10, and
we're
we've
in the
got
fourth quarter.
10, 15, about a little over 10 minutes of playing time left, so
I think we'll be okay.
we'll be done 10 o'clock or so, 10:05.
At around the average time. As that one there was gain of about 5 on the reception, 3rd and 4. As this snap bobbled, and who's got it? And the Hawks recover.
Looked like the Hawks got it. Yeah, number 4 came up with
Dennis Jaden.
He's a defensive end, came in there and picked it up.
You know, I mean, you can always say Malik Whitehead can be a player of the game, but I think the unit of the game has been the Hoffman Estates defensive line.
Defensive line has been really tough all night.
So the Hawks will take over on the Prospect 43-yard line.
Bodes well for Hoffman in our conference here. And we saw Barrington doing well on defense. It could be quite a game when Hoffman and Barrington play.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be something we look down the schedule and, you know, kind of mark your calendars for that one.
Two fine defenses matched up.
1st and 10 on the 42, as the end around is going to be a gain of maybe a yard. Deshaun Johnson, the freshman, on the carry. And they officially give him no gain, so 2nd down and 10 with 9:30 and counting to play in the
2nd and 10 for the Hawks. Conan 33, Elk Grove 3.
Ooh, so as we hear over the PA, Conan really blew it open over Elk Grove after a 6-3 halftime lead that they had.
That's Dennis Stortz is the coach over there at Conant. He won a state title when he was at Lake Zurich. He may have that Conant program really coming around. They actually had a weak record last year, but they had a solid defense last year.
Isaiah Cooper on that run there, that gave the Hawks a gain of 3. It'll be 3rd down and 7. With 8:45 now to counting to play in the 4th. Hoffman Estates in no rush, up by 24, 10 on the play clock. As the hey goodbye chants begin, the Hawks
they
student
do have
section.
a running back in this formation.
That'll be.
And he gets the football.
Yep,
and
Cooper gets the 1st down.
He's got plenty of room.
And he's got some more with him. Flag comes in behind the play though. And
a couple of flags down on the play. So.
Yeah, we'll see if this gets coming back. We'll have to look. Flags are at about the 29-yard line.
Holding or blocking the back. And
I think they may be calling a holding. Looks like they're all heading back. Prospect saying it's on Hoffman Estates, because they're never going to tell the official the flag's on them. And it is going to be a hold on the Hawks. So that negates the 1st down run from Cooper. It'll be 3rd down and long coming up for the Hawks after the penalty.
around the 41-yard line.
Personnel changes switched defensively for the Hoffman Estates Hawks. Evan Morris now checks in at linebacker. 3rd down and 6. Evan Morris, just to say, beg your pardon, checking in as the running back. He also lines up as a linebacker on defense. As this throw to the right side, looking for Lane, but too far to the right, incomplete, out of bounds. It'll bring up 4th down.
Jordan Lane is incomplete. They'll bring up 4th and 6.
4th down and 6. Offense staying out there unless they do the punt again.
They're at the 40-yard line, or 39.
See if they try to do that push punt again. There's 12 seconds on the play clock. 4th down and 6 at the 40, I beg your pardon, the 39-yard line.
Nobody's back for a punt on Prospect.
And they're going to keep it as it goes to Cooper, and he's going to get a gain of a couple, and then he gets almost a 1st down.
Almost got a 1st down.
He somehow broke through
gets
the first
ball
wave.
down to about the 35, where
Prospect
will take over with 7:44 to go in the game, trailing 24-0.
I want to thank the great work behind the scenes, the cam work, and the great stuff over at Hoffman Estates Cable TV and Bruce Anderson. Rocking the visor once again tonight. It is visor weather, actually. 1st down and 10 at the 35. Zardson will get the carry to the right side, and he tries to barrel his way towards the 1st down. He's going to be close. We'll see where they have to spot it. And they're officially going to give it a 9-yard run by Zardson. So 2nd down and 1 at the 44-yard line. Have to get to the 45 to convert. And no huddle from Prospect. Martin under center. And Zardson's going to get the handoff again to the right side. He gets the 1st down. And they'll move the chains.
After a lightning delay at Buffalo Grove, it's Barrington 14, Buffalo Grove nothing.
So Buffalo Grove, Barrington was affected by the lightning we saw in the area earlier, John. Buffalo Grove, not that far from here, but again, I'd like to think that the weather kind of made like a U around Miller Stadium. As we have an official's timeout on the field, and it looks like we have yet another injury to this Hawks defense.
Barrington leading 14-0 over Buffalo Grove, and last week Buffalo Grove put 49 points on the board against Downers Grove North, which is an 8A team, West Suburban Silver, historically a good program, and yet Barrington is shutting them out, shutting out Buffalo Grove, which put 49 on Downers North. So it would seem that the Buffalo Grove offense should be fairly good, but it's being shut out by this Barrington defense. And I had heard during the week that from a number of people that Barrington just looked fantastic on defense up at Warren. They held them to, Warren to 110 yards total offense, 40 rushing. So that's 110 could be close to as low as Warren has ever been held to, or at least in a long time.
Yeah,
that's not much yardage.
And that Barrington offense that we may see down the line this year, that if you look at what the Broncos did last year before the shocking overtime loss to Minooka at Barrington in the 2nd round, Ray Naira, who obviously was quarterback last year, graduated. You know, they're going through a little bit of a change offensively because, man, the way he controlled that offense last year was, nothing short of incredible.
Yeah. Well, Barrington, over the last few years, has had good offenses. The games that they've lost have been because they've had breakdowns on defense.
And that's
if their
and I was at that game when they lost in double overtime to Minooka, and boy, that stunned everybody.
I was there as well, and
shame I didn't see you there then.
And but Barrington, if their defense is as good as it appears to be, and I don't know what Warren is doing tonight, but they didn't generate any offense against Barrington last week, and it appears that Buffalo Grove isn't. It sets up next week. Barrington is at Maine South, and so that could be quite a contest. Barrington and Maine South have had some good games in recent years.
Yeah, Barrington knocked out Maine South.
But the new wrinkle in this whole thing is that Barrington, which really hasn't had great defenses over the years. They've had a lot of fine offensive teams, many fine offensive teams over the years. They had pretty darn good defense when they made it to runner-up in state back in 98, 99, around that time. But they haven't had quite the defense that would be ideal to pair with their offense. And now maybe they've come up with a defense one way or another. Certainly there's a strong hint of that with what they've done so far.
Barrington playing Maine South, and the injured Hawk player was Arthur Robinson again. Second time we've seen him being helped off the field tonight. Just to finish that point that you're mentioning about Barrington, they ended an incredible home winning streak that Maine South had a few years ago in the quarterfinal. That I believe, and I'm going off of memory here off this one, so don't quote me on this, but I believe it was, I want to say, a 5-year unbeaten streak at home, playoffs and regular season combined.
Yeah, and when would that have been? That would have been what, about?
Right before the three-peat began for the Hawks of Maine South.
That would have been in about 04 or something like that?
I would say closer to 06, 07.
06, 07.
Yeah, maybe even 08. The first year that they had the stadium lights at Maine South, they used to have to play all their games on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, let's say they...
Zardzin on the carry on this first down, gets to the next level and more into Hawks territory for a first down. Probably the best run we've seen from Prospect here tonight.
That's the kind of running that the Buff would like to see this team show more frequently. And as he goes on and develops this team, that will probably be the case.
As the pass to Meyer to the left side is complete for a gain of a few. It'll bring up second down.
The three-peat by Maine South, just to get back to that point, was 08, 09, and 10.
My freshman, sophomore, and junior years there. Not that anybody watching cared, but nevertheless. Second down and 6. Zardzin on the carry, and that's a gain of maybe a yard on the play. It'll bring up third down.
So you were probably there in 2010 for that controversial game over at Loyola.
I was actually, I was working in for the student radio station at the time on the sidelines, and there was a lot of stuff. I mean, I could have a conversation for days on what I heard about it. Being there, as that gain from Martin is maybe a gain of a half yard, and it brings up fourth down. But the stories around that were, there was. I mean, rules were obviously broken about it, and the IHSA, penalized, the team and the school the way they had thought they were, as fourth down and 5 by Martin as they're going for it. Martin looking downfield to his right. He's looking to tell his guy to go down deep, and the ball falls in front of Meyer, incomplete. Turnover on downs. Hawks will take over with 5:43 to play in regulation. But just to finish that point, though, about that sideline stuff in 2010 against Loyola, it really wasn't more so Loyola trying to make a case to the IHSA. It was teams that were in 7A, 6A, 5A saying, wait a second, we didn't get these kind of privileges. Why did those two teams did? And then that's what made the investigation lead to it.
Oh, that was at the championship game where they had extra people on the sideline.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course,
not the Loyola
not
game.
The Loyola
the
game.
Loyola game was, there's a dispute was that the Maine South student body ran out on the field.
Well, yes, that did happen because in Maine South's defense, and I'm not here saying to advocate it because I'm an alum there, but there was a clock issue that made these students be under the impression that they could be out there because it said 0-0. That's what gave them the assumption is that run there from Williams is a gain of about 5 yards on the play to make it second down. But the clock did read when I was working for, because I wasn't in the student section, I was working for it. It said 0-0, so everybody in the stands, players, coaches, all under the assumption game's over.
I think it was entirely justified. They're high school kids, and they're not NFL fans. They're not 50, 60-year-old NFL fans. They get excited. They run out on the field when their team wins at the end.
Well, that
and it's not a big deal, really.
They were still considered the underdog going into that on the road at Loyola on that Saturday. As this run here from Kai Williams gets outside to the 40, and that's all he gets. It'll be a short third down coming up. And I mean, I've always made the case that, you know, you could put any other school in that situation. You put them in those Maine South Hawks shoes. I can't see any other fan base doing the same thing. They would be in that same role, and if they had saw the clock the way they did, they'd run out on the field.
They run out. You can see them doing the same thing. And
I could see
I can see a lot of schools simply because of youthful exuberance. And I've been to countless high school games, and especially in the playoffs.
And everybody's the same age range.
Especially in the playoffs or against an arch rival, and that was both. You have that happen at the end of a tight game. You have the kids run out of the field.
Yeah, as the ball came out, and Prospect looks like they came up with it as Williams lost control of it, and Prospect recovers.
We're down to 4:05. There's enough time for Prospect to score here and avoid a shutout. That's really about what they're playing for at this stage of the game. 24 to nothing with 4:05. They're still confronted by this excellent defense of Hoffman Estates.
Well, Zarzan's had some good runs here in this fourth quarter as he is.
They wrap them up after about a yard gain.
Again, running game we talked about with Prospect, where you had Martin, the quarterback, have 19 carries himself for 79 yards in that victory against St. Viator. And he's had a couple of, you'd say, okay runs, but nothing that would be, you know, a big splash by any means with his offense. As Martin's trying to look downfield, he does, and he finds a wide open Brian Traviola. He gets to the outside, and Prospect, are they in the end zone? Yes, they are.
They
and the Knights finally get on the board.
They avoid a shutout.
So a
3:29 left. At the 3:29 mark, they score. Prospect gets on the board. We have a 24-6 game. They'll line up. So
Traviola with the 41-yard reception. A lot of that on his own. He went to his right to the other side of the field, got a couple blocks and tiptoed down the sidelines, and Prospect will not be shut out here tonight with the extra point pending. Or I should say the 2-point conversion rather they're showing for. As the fake toss to the right, and they wheel out, and it is intercepted. And that'll make the play automatically dead as the pass was intercepted by number 29 in Brian Smith, who got an interception earlier back in the first quarter of play on the first offensive drive of Prospect to start off the game.
Well, Prospect does get on the board. You know, I think for Prospect, what I've seen with running teams in a situation like this, where their running game has not worked, the coaches go to work on the offensive line blocking. And usually there's something that's a little off in the timing, or some of the double teams and everything, and they just have to drill more on that and get that fine-tuned. But I strongly suspect that Prospect will have some big games running the football before the season is over. It didn't happen tonight. I don't think they executed quite as well in the offensive line as they need to. And then they ran into a tremendous defense here.
Yeah, I mean,
they did, however, score a touchdown and avoid a shutout here just now.
That is true, but I think to your point there, I think the main storyline for tonight's game has been how powerful this defensive line has been in getting pressure to Bar and making him have to scramble so many times.
They've been defeating blocks, and it's a sign for Hoffman that this team, it wasn't so evident last week because they struggled a bit with Elk Grove.
Onside kick, and Hoffman falls right on top of it.
They may be headed toward another good state playoff run with a defense like this, and a star on offense like Whitehead, other good players on offense. Hoffman Estates way up over what they used to be.
Hoffman Estates will be traveling to Glenbrook North next week for week 3 non-conference action, and for Prospect, they'll be heading to Niles North. So both teams will be heading to Central Suburban League play next week.
Well, Hoffman will be going to Glenbrook South, and Glenbrook South has had big difficulties.
First and 10 for the Hawks on the 49. Man in motion, that's Lane. And the handoff will go to Cooper. He falls forward past the 50 for a gain of a few.
Prospects announcement. If you have a white Mercury Cougar, license plate AU 999955,
it's a gain of 3 with 3:12 and counting to go.
You need to move your car immediately. You are blocking the parking lot. A white Cougar.
And with 3:05 to go in the game, how does a car block the entrance of a parking lot in the fourth quarter?
Thank you.
I think that'd be like a first quarter issue, not towards the end of the game. As the fans will start to be heading out to the exits, I guess. But nevertheless, 2nd and 7, Cooper immediately met in the backfield. Lost about 3. That'll put him back to the original line of scrimmage for 3rd down, and Prospect calls their 2nd timeout.
Once again, a white Mercury Cougar, license plate AU 99955.
Timeout officially called to Prospect. They'll have 1 remaining.
The Hoffman parking lot. You are illegally parked.
They're down in 10. They officially mark it at the 49. 24-6 our score. 2:42 to play. Prospect will have some work to do on both sides of the ball for their matchup against Niles North next week. And now we get play back underway again. Often needing to take their time here, no rush. 7 seconds on the play clock, and we'll need to hurry here before the delay of game, though. And they do get the snap off in time. It'll go to Cooper on this 3rd down and 10. Cooper trying to barrel his way forward past the 45. And he gets out of bounds for a gain of about 6 or 7, perhaps. That'll be 4th and short. The clock is at 2:34.
Niles North will be, I suspect, quite a bit less formidable than Hoffman Estates has been tonight. Prospect
once again next week
should be able to get its offense working next week.
7 o'clock kickoff in Northbrook, next to Glenview.
Hoffman Estates will take this, assuming the score holds up, their 2-0 record to Glenbrook North. As the punting unit is out on this 4th and 5. The sophomore Waldman moving away. Nice spiral kick. He's going to take a nice soft bounce at about the 11-yard line.
Down by number 27, Jalen Williams.
And now the Hoffman crowd is about to jump on it with Apache playing in the background, as they're 2:25 away from starting their season 2-0. Prospect gets out there. They have 2 to the left and 2 to the right. Martin under center.
Try to put another one on the board if they can here.
Pass is caught by Meyer for a minimal gain.
Matthew Meyer reception. No yards on the play.
Wonder if they were trying to set up the hook and ladder there. It looked to me
You know,
like
I was kind of about to mention that.
Meyer was attempting it before
he wanted to
got
step
tackled.
back real quick and try to make another play, but he didn't. As quickly Marno throw up the middle, and it is caught for a 1st down. Brian Doherty with the catch, his 2nd of the day.
Doherty on the reception, good enough for a Prospect 1st down.
1:56 to go. Hoffman with 2 timeouts, Prospect with 1. Clock will now continue to wind as Hoffman Estates 151 away from victory. Martin to his left, incomplete.
Pass intended for number 15. Ryan Traviolio is incomplete.
Traviolio was the intended receiver, 2nd and 10, 147 on the clock.
We'll have to tally up how the Mid-Suburban West did tonight, but Schaumburg won, Hoffman is winning, Barrington is winning, so that's 3. There's only 6 games going on between the other division of the Mid-Suburban League.
And Martin airing it out downfield, and just out of the outstretched hands.
Had a guy.
That was Nicholas Mariani. Oh, and if he had
beyond everybody there somehow.
And had the wind actually not been in the favor of Martin throwing, that looked like that would have been on the money. That would have been to the touchdown for Prospect.
The wind may have taken it a little bit. We've got a bit of a breeze out of the south that's kicked up, and surprisingly, it's sort of a cool breeze coming out of the south.
Still a great night though for football.
It's a great night for football. And great,
we had a lightning show for
pleasant
3
evening.
quarters. Nice.
Started out, it was sort of still and humid.
And catch there once again from Brian Doherty.
We're down to a minute and a half, and
good enough for a Prospect first down. 1:31 remaining in the game.
You set it down as Doherty made the first down. Martin will roll to his right, and he is going to find Doherty once again. So 3 catches on this drive here for the junior wide receiver.
Number 3, Brian Doherty.
He's getting some late action here as we have a minute 10 to play. And the handoff will go to Zardzin, and he loses about a yard. And it'll be a long 3rd down with now 1 minute to play here in the game. A great night overall from Hoffman Estates here at their home turf at Garber Stadium, as the fans here will go home happy on this Friday night. As on this 3rd down and 8 passes, caught by Meyer, but a big hit. Marcellus Chu.
Hit by Marcellus Chu.
Using the Madden hit stick on that one. It's 4th down.
4th down, the clock running away.
And you have to imagine.
Could be the last play of the game right here.
As pressure comes, Martin throws,
gets it away.
And incomplete turnover. And that'll just about do it for tonight.
4th down, and Prospect will get it and take a knee, and we'll have this one in the record book. Fine defensive performance by Hoffman Estates.
Prospect will fall to 1-1. Hoffman Estates will go to 2-0. Again, Prospect will be heading to Niles North next week, while these Hoffman Estates Hawks will take a 2-0 record to Glenbrook North up in Northbrook next Friday night for Week 3 action.
Palatine and Rolling Meadows were tied the last I saw, so that's a game that the East could possibly win.
Yep, the knee has been taken. They'll have to take one more. No, they don't have to take one more, and that will do it.
That'll wrap it up for this crossover game tonight, with Hoffman Estates winning 24-6.
Clock will wind down, and that'll do it for this one here tonight at Garber Stadium. A convincing victory for the Hawks of Hoffman Estates over the Prospect Knights, as they take it by the final score of 24-6. John, your final thoughts on this game before we sign off?
Well, I think Hoffman showed that their defense can play at a very high level. It played that way last year, and that defense is back. They've got a real star here on offense in Whitehead. Their quarterback is coming along well. They've got a couple of nice running backs, and Hoffman looks like they're ready to do well in conference and go on from there again. This program has been totally rebuilt over the last 5-6 years, and it's a solid football program, and they showed that tonight.
Sign Prez to the press box, please.
Again, final score, Hoffman Estates 24, Prospect 6. Please make sure you stay with your Hoffman Estates cable TV program for future games we're going to have for you here throughout the 2018 IHSA football season. Again, shout out once again to Bruce Anderson running the camera tonight and everything behind the scenes. For John Anderson, I'm Ryan Fay signing off for our HETV Game of the Week. Final score, Hawks 24, Knights 6. We will see you next time.